So welcome to the CX Mechanic Workshop, and today I'm delighted to welcome Sirte Pihlaja from Shirute. Now, Sirte is an internationally recognised customer experience and employee experience expert, having set up Finland's first customer experience agency. She's a trained facilitator in Lego serious play, and more on that in a minute. And Sirte, you were one of the first in Europe to be awarded the CXPA accreditation, and you now lead the CXPA network in Finland. And also, as an author on the subject, I'm proud of the fact that we've both collaborated on 2 international best-selling books on customer experience. So, wow. Yeah, absolutely brilliant to see you today. So welcome to the workshop.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me, Nick.
You're very welcome. So I have to say, what is Lego play? Or Lego and serious play?
What is it about? It's a methodology and materials that the Lego group invented or had invented for themselves back in the mid-1990s, when they needed to reinvent themselves and the business that they were in. And they invited 2 university professors, so co-founders Johan Roos and Bart Victor, to come up with this methodology, which is based on a solid background of about 20 to 30 academic theories. And it's really all about creating new knowledge and trying to bring new meanings and thinking to the discussions, and really fast-tracking discussions about very complex issues that might be there. One of the theories that is in the background is called flow, which probably many know, and that's, I think, the most important thing in Lego serious play, is because through play you get people into this state of flow where they're very much more likely to bring into the table more of themselves and their ideas, and they're ready to boost. That really boosts their creativity.
Yeah, and in terms of creativity and innovation, it can often be a sticking point. And my experience is working with some of the bigger brands in the world, that they have the best expertise that they can find, they can hire in, but sometimes they just hit that brick wall. They don't quite know how to get beyond it. So actually that innovation and creativity support can be really useful. But why is playing so important?
Play is very important, I think, because it brings more fun and creativity into the world of business. And well, at the same time, play is not only about having fun. That's why it's called Lego serious play, but it helps you unlock your creativity. And that means that you become more creative, more productive, and it energizes people. Really, play is there to bring about a new wave of valuing and supporting and caring for each other at work. And at the same time, that means that it lowers the levels of stress and brings about an increase in the well-being of your personnel. So as I mentioned, that flow state, people are really, really into it. But most importantly, I think that it makes people more engaged, because we live in a world today where people are unfortunately very bored with their work in so many places, that it's one of the most the biggest challenges that we have in working life, is that people are not really 100% or 120% into the game. They are really, really just trying to cope with the situation. And well, not to mention what we are living in, the times that we are living in right now. One thing that you need to really consider is that play is not the opposite of work. Boredom is really, and you don't want to get those people who are stressed out and who don't really want to do anything, but rather being productive. And this to businesses then translates to growth, profits, and success.
Yeah, and from my experience, I haven't gone through the Lego play, serious play process, but I know that when you're being creative, if you're doing things with your hands, then it just helps unlock some of that creativity, and it stops you being, as you say, bored in the workplace. But that, for me, what's interesting there is as much about the engagement. And are people being less productive when they're bored? Clearly they probably are. And are they coasting? Are they just doing enough to make sure the business functions? And by stimulating that creativity and engagement, you would naturally expect people to then start trying to find solutions to make their day jobs easier, or potentially think about elements beyond their day job, so they can start saying, actually, if we did this, that would work better. Or if we considered our own role, if we considered our peers' role, or if we considered the customer in this, what could we do differently that would make our business better for us to deliver it? And then secondly, more engaging and better for the customer themselves. So I think there's I can certainly see how organizations would benefit through engaging with Lego Serious Play. So in terms of your experience on using it, have you got any examples of where organizations have gone through the process and then suddenly seen a change to the output or outcomes of their business?
Well, if you think in the background, when Lego Serious Play was created, they had 4 original applications. They were called Real-Time Strategy, Real-Time Identity for Teams, for Real-Time Identity for Employees, and then a fourth one called Real-Time Strategy for the Beast. So these were, to begin with, Lego wanted to create a new methodology for thinking over their strategy, but they quite soon realized that culture eats strategy for breakfast, and they needed to address the cultural, organizational culture in the background as well. And that's how this team building or team development and leadership development related applications came into life. And we have created something that is called CXPA, because proficient Lego Serious Play facilitators are allowed to create their own applications on top of the original ones, because it's an open source methodology nowadays. So CXPlay is all about bringing the play into creating better people experiences. And we have been working on assignments that are addressing things that we would normally be addressing with your CX development efforts. So CX strategy, doing personas, customer journey management, experience design, even prototyping as part of the service design process. And I know that, for instance, for voice of customer, we are also doing trying to understand customers better and create these performance indicators for companies of how they are doing based on the voice of customer. And I know that, for instance, Cirque du Soleil is using Lego Serious Play, the circus, to gain feedback from their customers, to be able to even change their scenes and do things differently in their shows. So that's something in a relatively large scale that they have been doing with it. A really, really nice example of what we have been doing is what we have been doing with Sanoma, which is a leading learning and media company here in Finland. They operate in 11 European countries, so you might have heard of them as well. So they had a situation where they were combining 2 different business units, so 2 units that were IT focused, and they wanted to give their personnel the possibility to understand each other better and understand each other's cultural backgrounds better, the way how they work. So they were having there were 80 people joining this session, where they had discussions over their respective understanding of their customers, what they expected from each other, how they wanted to kind of conduct their work together. And this led to very good results within those 2 teams that got merged. And I believe that it also changed their culture and the way they thought about each other, because I had people coming up after the session to me saying that I'm an introvert and I didn't think of this as something that I would really want to attend to. But I caught myself in halfway through the session, and I was the first one who was speaking out. I was trying to find my kind of space, and I was really enjoying it because I could finally say out loud what I thought. So if you contrast this to doing what companies would usually do in such a situation. So creating those employee surveys about things that matter to employees, you would not gain the same results.
That's a really important piece, because I think that you're right. You get really strong personalities in organizations that naturally step forward and bring to the table their thoughts and opinions. But sometimes those introverts have, absolutely not just valid, but in some cases much more practical and considered solutions and ideas, but don't always feel that they get the opportunity to have that voice.
That's the whole point with Lego Serious Play, is that we are giving equal footing to everybody, because everybody builds models as their response to the challenges that are put forward by the facilitator, and everybody gets their say. And firstly, the storytelling goes around the table. Everybody gets to share their stories about their respective models, and then the second round is always about getting everybody's models as part of the common model, so everybody's view counts, and there is no right or wrong, but rather there are different viewpoints to the same matter at hand.
And quite often, different people in different teams don't recognize themselves as being customers of each other. And just that realization sometimes, that if they tried a little bit harder or didn't go home at 5 o'clock and spent 2 more extra minutes just finishing a task for somebody, that the knock-on effect that has on their peers' role has given them the opportunity to then fulfill their task for the day. So sometimes just that little bit of acknowledgement and then understanding of the needs and wants of your peers can make a big difference to the performance of a company, because that cascades all the way back down to the interface with the customer. So their outcome is then much better, because you either save them time or you achieve what you wanted to.
Exactly. And you're giving everybody the space to be there and have new thoughts, and we are not creating pure representations of the world as it is, but rather models that depict your ideas so you can share them with everybody else. So that's a very important element to the game. And sometimes we have people who are very skilled in Lego builders, so they make these models that have all kinds of mechanics in them, but you don't need to have those skills to be able to do this, participate in the sessions.
Ultimately it's about unlocking imagination, isn't it? So you create a representation of that, and you can describe the mechanics of it, even if you haven't been able to build those in. So I completely agree. I think it's fantastic. And I've really enjoyed talking to you today. I think the understanding of how Lego Serious Play unlocks that level of creativity, so that when you're co-creating and you're designing your customer experience or your employee experience, you're not just limited to the processes that have happened before. You're not limited to the 1 or 2 people who are more vocal within an organization. And it starts to then really help organizations work much more collaboratively with each other in order to then create a much better outcome for their customer experience. So it's been absolutely brilliant. So I'd like to say thank you to our audience. Please like and share the channel, and don't forget to click on the bell icon to get notifications when the next episode is launched. All the best, and goodbye.
Thank you so much, Nick, for having me. And if anybody wants to connect, I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me on there and on www.shirute.fi and cxplay.fi. Let's connect.
Thank you very much.